You stand in the dust of a village square and can't feel your fingers. They cramp from hunger and anger. Your purse is empty. Your mother's eyes hold shame and the silent question, what now? Then you see the sign with the eagle and the recruiter's table. On the board, someone has scratched a promise of pay, bread, and glory. You sign your name crookedly because your hand is shaking. Not from fear, from impatience. Silver, food, a warm cloak in winter. It sounds like a dream. And they promise it in exchange for your back and your sword. You hug your mother. She smells of breadcrumbs and hearth smoke. She whispers, "Come back." You nod, not knowing if you will. Your little brother glances at the eagle on the placard like it's a monster. You practice wearing a stone face. The recruiter taps your shoulder with a vine staff, a short, knotty switch, and in that moment, you're no longer a son or a plowman. You're a recruit. Inside you, pride and emptiness slosh together like in a cracked jug. You take your first step into a life that will swallow you whole. Night in the barracks smells of leather, sweat, and sour water cut with vinegar. Your new comrades laugh too loudly, the laugh of men who won't admit they're afraid. You touch the rough weave of your new tunic and feel a crease inside your head smooth out. From now on, the gods won't decide. Your legs, your hands, and your discipline will. You wake before dawn to the vine staff cracking against the doorframe. The centurion's voice slices the air like a knife. Up! Your feet are already in hobnailed sandals. On your back is your whole life. Shield, spear, pot, shovel, rations, and a stash of doubt. You march. 30 kilometers of dusty road, the sun a bronze shield overhead. Every step answers in your heels like you're treading on nails. You learn to count not to 100, but to the next swallow of water. You learn to hold the scutum, the heavy shield, so your elbow doesn't tremble. You learn to throw the pilum, the long spear, not for show, but so it bites into an enemy shield and drags it down, turning a man into a tree with a stone tied to it. You learn to work the gladius, the short sword, not windmilling, but driving iron in quick, short, silent thrusts between ribs. You learn not to blink when iron goes into the training dummy and the air gives a little shiver like a breath. You build a camp, always. The earth is your first enemy and your most patient teacher. Ditch, rampart, stakes, tents. You hammer in a stake, dig, haul baskets until your fingers don't feel like yours. In the evening, when they finally release you, you collapse on a flea-bitten mat and your temples are still pounding. Step, step, step! Your shoulders broaden, your skin thickens, your thoughts get shorter. The snot-nosed kid you were gets left somewhere in the first week. In his place, something grim, tired and precise, grows a machine trained to kill and survive. You learn the taste of punishment, slacking extra duty, swearing 100 squats under a shield, acting on your own straps, and blood on your back. You watch a comrade tied to a post, and you remember, here no one argues. Here they do, and you do. You learn to be silent when it's hard, and to shout only on command. You stand in the line. Your palms are wet, the shield slips, and you grip the handle tighter. Your heart wants to claw its way out like a caged animal. The field smells of manure, iron, and someone's cheap wine. You hear the man to your left gulp as loudly as if it were you. Far off, another crowd howls wild voices tearing their throats. You picture their faces, painted, angry, hungry like you once were, and for the first time you hate them for not being you. the order. Shields forward. The ranks compress, and you find yourself shoulder to shoulder with a living wall. Pila fly. The air whistles like reeds on a riverbank. You cast your spear, and for a heartbeat, your arm feels light, like after a sin. Somewhere, someone falls. Somewhere, someone screams. Not human. Thin. You take one step, then another. The ground trembles like a beast's flank. Testudo! And you raise the shield overhead. Above you, the rain of arrows thumps dully. Shields knock together like coffin lids. Breathing is hard. The air smells of boiled leather and hot metal. Your face sticks to the inside of the shield. You hear shafts splinter, iron edges grind. Someone in the rear rank cursing just to keep from screaming. The command. The turtle dissolves back into the wall. First impact. Your shields slam their shields, wood to wood, teeth to teeth. Bash, shove, step, thrust. You don't think. You do. In front of you is a man, very close. You see the dirt under his nails, and the stinging reek of his breath sour, like yesterday's stew. You smash your shield into his face, hear the crack like a dry twig snapping. In the same gap, while he's breathing through his nose and his blood, you drive in the iron. Short. No flourish. Your first enemy falls almost onto you and goes numb. You feel no triumph and no shame. Only a hollow cold, like after falling into a winter river, and the animal fear that the sky is about to collapse on you. But the sky doesn't fall. Somewhere, your centurion yells, "Forward!" Your leg moves obediently, as if it isn't yours. The taste of blood on your lips is your own. You bit them by accident when you slammed the shield. A silly, stupid taste of victory and pain. And you go on, because the line goes on. You understand. Victory isn't a heroic shout or inspiration. Victory is doing the same thing until the other man breaks. You live to the rhythm of a drum that isn't there. Dawn inspection, drill, details. Day dig, build, guard. Evening mend straps, patch sandals, wipe the shield, sharpen the knife. The food is simple as stone. Porridge, bread, sometimes meat. More often a sour drink, cut with vinegar so the water won't rot. You chew and feel grit grind in your teeth. You learn to steal from sleep and from homesickness. In the evening, you throw dice on a leather square, listen to your comrades' laughter, curses, and stories, where someone is always the bravest and handsomest, and naturally, it's the one telling the tale. You learn to lose without wanting to stab your neighbor, and to win without making him want the same. You have tiny joys, clean water after a march, a warm fire, a letter from home, rare as summer rain. You read it aloud like a charm and hide it under your mat like an amulet. You notice the world is held together by punishments and pay. The centurion's vine whistles through the air, and you try to make sure it never touches you. Sometimes for one offense, you get a double burden. Ditch by day, watch by night. You come back like a shadow and collapse in the tent without loosening your straps. Pay doesn't always arrive on time, but when it does, the world turns brighter. Coins ring in the pouch like a promise that you're not just meat. You're a man who will have his own bread, and maybe his own plot of land. You get used to brotherhood. Your comrades are your wall, your house, your court, your laughter. You share bread, water, curses, and silence. You divide fear so each man carries less. You memorize one another's scars and give them names like dogs. This one, because of stupidity. This one, because of courage. And you catch yourself realizing that for the first time in your life, you are not alone. You grow old without noticing. Not in your face, in your mornings. Once you sprang up, now you gather your joints first, like scattered dice. Your hands are a net of white lines. Your back is a map you could read the years by. You see the newcomers thin, eyes shining. They smell of soap, not sweat. You smile. That won't last. The last great battle smells of rain, wet grass, and iron. You don't tremble anymore. You read the field the way a smith reads hot iron, where it's thin, where to strike. You hear orders below hearing, down in your bones. When the lines meet, you feel the familiar jolt and the familiar rhythm. Bash, shove, step, thrust. But this time a blow comes from the side. The pain is clean as mountain air. The gladius falls, and the earth steps toward you. You drop to one knee, and the world snaps into a sharp picture like midnight lightning. A blade of grass stuck to a shield, a comrade's palm, scarred and filthy, a bead of blood on an iron edge, round as a coin. Time stretches like raw dough. Ending one. You live. They drag you out. Your brothers in the line haul you like a sack of grain and swear the way men swear only about the living. You wake to the smell of vinegar and smoke. The wound tugs like an old debt. But you're alive. The war moves on like a rain cloud beyond a hill. Years later, you stand on your own land, neither the best nor the worst. You smell of manure and sweat as before, but it's a different sweat, peaceful. You walk the boundary paths and feel familiar spikes underfoot, only now they're ears of grain. In the evening, you sit on the threshold with a grandson on your knees. He touches your scars and asks, "Did it hurt?" You smile. It did. Inside, it's quiet. Not because you forgot, because you did what you had to. You raise your eyes to the sunset sky. It's the same color as that first battle. But now in your hands there's no shield. There's bread. Ending two. You fall. You understand everything at once. Warmth drains from your legs. The world's sound turns muffled, like through thick cloth. Above you, your comrades' faces. They shout your name, but there's no panic in it. Only anger, the kind that held you together in the line. You smile with one corner of your mouth. There's no strength for more. A hand presses to your brow, heavy as a shield, warm as bread. You close your eyes and see your mother at the hearth. Your first pay coin, your first shield bash, your first night in camp. You don't go into darkness. You go into a silence like the moment before reveille. Your name won't enter the chronicles, but it will live in 4 hearts. Those who stood beside you, and one more, your own. Because you did the most important thing, you did not break. You are a Roman legionary. This is your whole life. Pain, dust, iron. Laughter by the fire and a sour swallow of water. Long roads and short thrusts. A time with no room for chance. But there is you and your choice to stand. And while you stand, the world holds.